Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. When you picture Goa, what pops into your head first? Is it the golden beaches, maybe the nightlife,
Mhm.
those Portuguese churches? And yeah, that's definitely part of it, part of that vibrant tapestry. But what if I told you there's a much, much older story? A deeper history woven right into Goa's fabric. We're talking millennia, not just centuries. So today, our mission is to kind of peel back those familiar layers. We're going way beyond the usual tourist stuff to uncover Goa's true ancient roots, its incredible history, and we'll really zero in on one amazing survivor, the Tamdi Surla Mahadev Temple. It's a place that just whispers stories of resilience, of architectural brilliance. And joining me, like always, to help connect the dots, give us those aha moments about
Mhm.
why this ancient history still matters, is our expert.
It's going to be a great exploration. I think by the end of this, you'll really see Goa in a completely different way. The depth of its past is, well, it's remarkable.
Okay, let's dive in then. Most people, yeah, they jump straight to the Portuguese colonial era, and that's significant, sure, but it's only a slice of the whole story. What's really amazing is that Goa's history isn't just a few hundred years old, we're talking thousands of years. So what actual evidence do we have? How do we know it goes back that far?
That's a great starting point. And this is where the ancient texts really come alive for us. It's fascinating just how far back the mentions go in Indian scriptures. You look at the Mahabharata, for example, and Goa is there as Goparashtra or Gamantak.
A Gomantak, what does that mean exactly?
Well, Gamantak literally translates to the land where Gamada resides. So it gives it this deep sort of spiritual identity right from the very beginning.
Wow. So not just a name on a map, but a place with real significance even then. And I gather it wasn't just known locally within India.
Exactly. You also find mentions in the Skanda Purana and the Harivamsha Purana, but then broadening out, it wasn't only in Indian texts. Classical writings from much further afield, like the Periplus of the Erythraean Sea, even Pliny's work, they recognized Goa as an important port.
An important port.
Yeah, which totally reshapes how you might think about Goa, right? It tells us that long before any colonial powers arrived, this region was dynamic. It was connected globally, culturally, economically. It challenges that whole idea of Goa just being discovered.
And there's also that layer of legend, isn't there? The story linking Parashurama to Goa's creation.
Absolutely. That mythological connection adds another fascinating dimension to its ancient origins. It's this mix of verifiable history and captivating legend.
Right. So before we focus on one particular dynasty, who else was ruling ancient Goa? It wasn't just one group, right?
No, not at all. It's important to get a sense of the timeline. Goa saw many powerful rulers pass through. We're talking about the Burjas, the Konkan Mauryas, the Badami Chalukyas, the Shilaharas. Each one left their own distinct mark on the place, culturally, politically.
But then come the Kadambas. And they seem to have left a really lasting legacy. They ruled for a huge stretch of time, didn't they? From the 4th or 5th century right up to the 14th.
That's right, an incredibly long reign. Their peak, you could say, was roughly between the 10th and 14th centuries. That was a real golden age for the region under their rule.
What made them so impactful? Why do we remember them so strongly?
Well, several things. They were builders, first and foremost, prolific temple builders. They constructed many grand structures that really showcased their artistic vision. But it wasn't just buildings. They actively fostered education, literature, trade. They created this thriving cultural environment.
A real hub.
Exactly. And it says a lot that even the Kalyani Chalukyas, who were a major power themselves, were apparently quite proud of marrying into the Kadamba family.
That does say something about their status.
It really points to the Kadambas' influence and respect in the wider political world of the time.
And their reach wasn't just Goa itself, was it? They spread out.
Correct. Their influence extended into parts of what's now Karnataka and Maharashtra. Banavasi, for instance, was their ancestral village and also a key military base.
And the origin story.
Mm.
It's quite something.
Oh, it's captivating. The legend says a drop from Mahadeva's forehead fell at the root of a Kadamba tree, and from that, this lineage was born.
Wow.
And Mayurvarma is a key early figure, an important king who really helped establish their power.
Okay, so we have this golden age under the Kadambas, but then things change dramatically.
Yes, if we move forward in time, we hit a much darker period for Goa. Starting around 1372 AD and continuing really through the 16th and 17th centuries, Goa saw terrible destruction. Invaders, both North Indian Muslim rulers and later the Portuguese, they razed temples. The estimate is staggering. 566 temples destroyed. It was, well, almost unimaginable devastation.
566. It's hard to comprehend. It sounds like a deliberate wiping out of culture. So you'd almost assume nothing ancient survived that kind of onslaught.
Yeah.
But one did. The Tamdi Surla Mahadev Temple. You called it a rare gem.
It truly is. It's one of the very, very few that escaped that destruction, which makes it incredibly significant, not just beautiful, a lone witness, really, to that whole tumultuous era.
How did it survive when so many others fell?
Its location, its sheer remoteness was its greatest protection. Picture this. It's nestled deep inside a really dense jungle, greenery everywhere, a beautiful river flowing nearby, and you hear the birds constantly. It creates this adahut, this really amazing, almost magical atmosphere. This isolation, being deep within what's now the Bhagwan Mahavir Wildlife Sanctuary, probably just kept it hidden, out of sight, out of mind for those carrying out the destruction.
Makes sense.
It's dedicated to Mahadeva, Shiva, and it faces east. The local belief, which is quite lovely, is that the very first rays of the rising sun fall directly onto the Shiv Pindi inside.
Just being there must feel spiritual.
It really does.
Okay, so let's imagine we're walking towards it. We enter the Mukhamandapa, the main hall. What strikes you architecturally?
All right, so the Mukhamandapa, it has 3 entrances, east, north, and south. Inside, it's held up by 16 pillars. Pretty sturdy. And if you look closely at the middle sections of these pillars, you'll see these beautiful, intricate carvings, leaves, flowers, really delicate work.
Nice detail.
And the roof is interesting, too. It's got sloping tiles, which was probably a very practical, clever design choice for the heavy monsoon rains they get in that region.
Smart adaptation.
But the real stars, architecturally speaking, are the 4 central pillars. Their capitals, the tops of the pillars are just covered in elaborate carvings. You see figures like Makaradharana, those mythical sea creatures, and Vyala, the composite animals, and Kirtimuka, the fierce monster faces. All designed, of course, to look amazing, but also to bear the heavy load of the roof.
Wow. And moving through that hall, you mentioned niches in the walls.
Yeah.
Holding idols.
Yes, exactly. In the south and north walls of the Mukhamandapa, there are these niches, devakaftas, and they hold some really remarkable sculptures. In the left niche, you find Vishnu. Now, sadly, his hands are broken.
Oh, shame.
It is. But you can still clearly make out his symbols, the Sudarshana chakra, his disc, and the Panchajanya Shanka, his conch shell. He's shown with garlands, earrings, a crown, the Vaijanti Mala. And near his feet, look closely, you see Garuda, his eagle mount, but shown in human form, sitting with folded hands.
Fascinating detail. Garuda in human form, and the other niche.
Opposite Vishnu, there's a Ganesha sculpture. 4 arms. He's holding a parashu, the axe, and a bowl of madaka, the sweets he loves. Again, there's some damachans part of the stomach, but you can still clearly see the coiled snake around his belly. It really speaks to the skill of the original artisans that so much detail survives.
Incredible craftsmanship. And then deeper inside is the main sanctum.
Right, the Garbhagriha. That's where the Shiv Pindi itself is consecrated, the heart of the temple.
And the outside, is it plain or are there carvings there too?
Oh, the exterior walls are just as impressive. They're adorned with really excellent carvings. You find figures like Brahma, Bhairava, Nataraja, Shiva as the cosmic dancer, Umasahita Shiva, Shiva with Parvati, Vishnu, Shiva, Parvati together. And if you sort of step back and look at the overall style, the architecture, the sculptures, you can see a definite Chalukya influence on these Kadamba temples.
Ah. So a connection there.
Yes, it shows this fascinating blend of artistic styles, how ideas traveled across different regions and dynasties.
So even though Tamdi Surla might be relatively small compared to some giant temples elsewhere,
Exactly.
its place in Goa's religious history, its political history, is just immense.
Amen.
Monumental, really.
Absolutely. It's a testament not just to survival, but to the enduring spirit of the culture itself. It really embodies so much of what we've been talking about.
So for you, the listener, what's the big takeaway here?
Well, it means Goa is so much more than just, beaches and hotels and parties. It's a place with deep cultural roots, intrinsically linked to Hindu Dharma, with layer upon layer of history just waiting there. Definitely. And Tamdi Surla, amazing as it is just one piece of this bigger puzzle. If you're thinking about exploring Goa's history, I'd really encourage you to check out other sites too, like the ancient Arvalam caves, or the rock carvings at Uskalam. Those are fascinating. Or the Saptakoteshwar Temple. That one's particularly interesting because it was restored by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj himself.
Oh, wow, Shivaji Maharaj.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, there's the State Government Museum in Panaji, which can give you a great overview.
So lots to explore beyond the usual spots.
Absolutely.
We really hope you get a chance to experience this richer, often overlooked, cultural and historical side of Goa firsthand. It's an adventure, really, for the mind and spirit. It'll completely change how you see this incredible state. So today, we've journeyed quite a distance, haven't we? From finding Goa mentioned in texts thousands of years ago, through the really impressive legacy of the Kadambas, and finally standing, metaphorically at least, before Tamdi Surla, that lone survivor of such immense destruction. We've seen how this place, often just known for sun and sand, is actually this treasure trove of deep history and living culture.
Yeah. And maybe, as we finish up, here's a thought to leave you with. Just consider how this relatively small temple, tucked away quietly in a jungle, could silently witness centuries roll by, witness destruction, survival, and still be here. What does that tell us about, well, the endurance of culture, of faith, the human spirit itself? Maybe it inspires you wherever you go to look beyond the obvious surface of places you think you know, to seek out those hidden depths that tell a much richer, more profound, and often more interesting story.